ramen. And my Masi gave me this ramen book for Christmas, and it has a lot of good recipes in it. And we're gonna make Tonkotsu Ramen, which means pork bones. So we're gonna start off with our toppings. The good thing about ramen is that you can put all different kinds of things on it and you can experiment on it. So we're gonna first start with our pork belly, which is basically like bacon, it's just a thicker part of meat. And I seasoned it with salt and pepper, and I'm gonna sear it on both sides in the cast iron. Down. So now we're gonna start our braising liquid. So I added 2 cups of soy sauce, 1/2 cup of white wine, 1/3 of a cup of honey, and a couple chunks of ginger. And I'm going to let this come to a boil with the top off. And once that's done, I'm gonna turn it down to medium and let it simmer for about 25 minutes. Once that's done, I'm going to turn the heat off and let it come to room temperature. So now we're gonna start our second topping for the ramen, which is soy hard-boiled eggs. So I'm gonna let this water come to a boil with the eggs in it. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to turn the heat off and put the lid on for 5 minutes. I'm gonna let it sit for 5 minutes. And if you let it sit for 5 minutes and under, it will be a runny yolk. If you let it sit for 5 minutes and over, it will be a hard-boiled yolk. So I peeled the hard-boiled eggs, as you can see, and I'm gonna now put them in a Ziploc bag of soy sauce. You can add water or mirin, but I'm just using soy sauce, and I'm gonna let this sit for about an hour in the refrigerator. The 2 most important things in ramen is the broth and the noodles. So we're gonna start off with the broth. Usually in traditional Tonkotsu Ramen, they have a lighter, more creamier consistency of broth. They also boil the pork bones, but I did a little twist. I roasted the pork bones and roasted some vegetables, and it's a darker, more caramelization flavor. So I'm gonna add 1.5 quarts of the broth in. It's hot, and I'm gonna warm it up. Noodles. These are fresh handmade noodles, and I'm gonna boil them one at a time. You can also use bagged ramen noodles, and this is really good brand. This is from Morimoto. So I have boiling water here, and I'm gonna put a good amount of salt. And you want the water to taste like sea salt water because it gives it the noodles flavor. So now that I'm done with that, I'm gonna put the noodles in the water. Just let them fall apart. Now we are assembling the ramen. So I'm going to put the noodles in the bowl. I'm going to put 2 scoops of our broth. I'm going to put 1 of the pork belly pieces. I'm going to put spicy mustard greens, just a little bit. A little bit of pickled ginger that we soaked in water a little bit. A little bit of pickled cabbage. A leaf of bok choy. Our soy eggs. Shiitake mushrooms, dried shiitake mushrooms that we soaked in water a little bit. A little bit of scallions, and a little bit of white sesame seeds. Bon appetit.